Welcome everyone to another fascinating journey into the world of rare coins, where a tiny piece of metal can hold a story so remarkable that it turns a simple penny into a treasure worth millions. Today we're diving deep into the captivating mystery behind the 2005 1-cent coin that's rumored to be worth an astonishing $35 million, a value so extraordinary that it's hard to believe such wealth could be tied to a coin most of us would barely notice in our change. Yet, hidden within this small copper-plated zinc piece lies a tale of minting mishaps, human error, and numismatic rarity that have driven collectors into a frenzy. So buckle up, because by the end of this story, you'll never look at a humble penny the same way again. The 2005 1-cent coin, like all Lincoln cents minted in the modern era, was struck by the United States Mint in massive quantities, with hundreds of millions produced across facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. At first glance, it appears to be just another standard-issue coin bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, with the Lincoln Memorial reverse still in use before the design changed in 2009 to commemorate the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. But for coin experts and lucky finders, some examples of the 2005 penny have turned out to be anything but ordinary. The reason this particular coin has achieved mythical status in the collecting world is because of an extremely rare and fascinating combination of minting errors that make it unique, desirable, and nearly priceless to the right buyer. To understand why, let's first look at how coins like this are made and where things can go so wrong that a 1-cent piece could eventually fetch millions. The minting process is an incredibly precise system involving planchets, the blank discs that become coins, dies, which carry the coin's design, and presses that strike thousands of coins per minute. However, even with state-of-the-art machinery, errors can and do occur, especially when equipment wears down or human oversight falters. In the case of the 2005 penny, some coins were produced under conditions that led to a series of compounding mistakes. One of the most talked about varieties is the 2005 double-die obverse penny, where the details on Lincoln's face, the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," or even the date itself appear to have been struck twice, slightly misaligned. This doubling happens when the die shifts between strikes, creating a shadow-like or duplicated image that collectors prize for its rarity. Some 2005 examples show doubling so strong that it's visible to the naked eye, making them stand out instantly from the ordinary. These double-die pennies have fetched thousands at auction, and experts speculate that an example in pristine condition, with perfect doubling and full luster, could easily be valued in the millions due to its uniqueness and historical significance. But doubling wasn't the only anomaly in 2005. There are reports of off-center strikes, where the design was not properly aligned with the blank planchet, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area on one side of the coin. The more off-center a strike is, the rarer it becomes, and if the date remains visible while a large portion of the design is missing, the value skyrockets. Some 2005 off-center pennies have been found at up to 80% off-center, an almost impossible occurrence in today's tightly controlled minting process. Such pieces have been auctioned for tens of thousands of dollars, and one can only imagine the bidding war for a flawless, mint-condition specimen with this type of error. Another fascinating mistake involves the wrong planchet error. Occasionally, during production, a planchet intended for another denomination, like a dime or foreign coin, gets fed into the penny press. A 2005 1-cent struck on a dime planchet would appear thinner, smaller, and have a silvery tone because of the dime's composition. These hybrid coins are extraordinary finds, merging two coin types into one mistake that the mint never intended to release. Collectors value wrong planchet errors enormously, sometimes paying the equivalent of a new car for a single example. The rarest of all are those struck on experimental or transitional metals, like bronze or steel, especially in years when the official metal composition had changed or the mint was testing alternatives. If a 2005 penny were struck on such a metal, it could explain why collectors have attached a rumored value of up to $35 million to certain specimens believed to exist. Stories have circulated of a 2005 penny mistakenly struck on an experimental alloy, possibly bronze or aluminum, rather than the standard zinc core with copper plating. Such an anomaly would make it unique in history, as no known examples were ever intended to leave the mint. Imagine holding in your hand the only coin of its kind, a mistrike that represents a momentary lapse in an otherwise perfect system, its rarity unmatched, its mystery deepened by the fact that it shouldn't exist at all. Adding to the allure are examples with die breaks, where cracks develop in the die and transfer raised lines or blobs of metal onto the coin's surface. These can form patterns that collectors call cuds or die chips, and when positioned in eye-catching places, like near Lincoln's eye, which collectors nickname the BIE error when a small die break forms between the letters B and E in Liberty, they become desirable conversation pieces. Some 2005 pennies have shown large die breaks on Lincoln's face or around the rim, giving them a unique and almost sculptural look. Each die break is unique, making every such coin a one-of-a-kind creation. Then there's the broad strike error, where a coin is struck without the retaining collar that keeps it in shape, causing it to spread out wider than normal, giving it a distorted and fascinating appearance. 2005 broad strike pennies are eye-catching and highly collectible, especially in uncirculated condition. The combination of these various errors, double die, off-center strike, wrong planchet, die break, broad strike, creates a spectrum of rarity that explains why certain 2005 pennies have achieved near-mythical values. But what could possibly make one specific 2005 penny worth $35 million? The answer lies in the combination of perfect storm factors, an uncirculated coin with a one-of-a-kind minting error, impeccable provenance, public fascination, and the element of mystery that often drives collectors to extremes. Just like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die cent, the 2005 penny may have an undiscovered or closely guarded variant that exists in only one or two known examples, possibly in private hands or locked away by the U.S. Mint as part of error archives. The coin's rumored $35 million valuation might be speculative, but it's rooted in real examples of coins that have reached astronomical prices. For instance, the 1943 copper cent fetched over $1.7 million, and the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar sold for over $10 million. When scarcity, demand, and historical intrigue combine, the sky is truly the limit. What makes the 2005 penny so tantalizing is that it represents modern rarity, a treasure potentially hidden in everyday change. It's not ancient, not even vintage by some standards, yet it carries the allure of a modern-day relic that slipped through the cracks. Coin collectors dream of finding one in a jar of loose change, in an old desk drawer, or in a roll of coins from the bank. The excitement of such discoveries fuels the ongoing fascination and contributes to the legend. Some 2005 pennies also have anomalies related to their finish, coins with unusual color variations, missing copper plating, or bubbles under the surface caused by improper bonding of the copper layer over the zinc core. These so-called plating blisters can appear like strange pockmarks or raised areas, often mistaken for damage but in fact caused during the minting process. While minor ones are common, extreme examples where the entire coin's surface looks distorted can be valuable, especially if they're uncirculated and clearly mint errors rather than post-mint damage. Another intriguing aspect is the existence of proof and satin finish sets produced by the Mint for collectors in 2005. If an error occurred in these limited production runs, it would multiply the value immensely, as proof coins are struck with special care and typically have mirror-like surfaces. A proof error, such as a double strike or misaligned die on one of these, would be virtually unheard of, and the rarity could easily push the coin's value into 7 or even 8 figures. Beyond the technical errors, there's also the human fascination with rarity itself, the idea that something as common as a penny could hold unimaginable wealth simply because of an imperfection. It's the story that captivates people, the thought that perfection isn't always valuable, but imperfection, when rare, can be priceless. This psychological element plays a huge role in numismatics, the study and collection of coins, where collectors are not just buying metal, but history, mystery, and uniqueness. Every 2005 penny tells a story, but those with mistakes tell one that breaks the rules of what should have been possible. The $35 million rumor likely stems from one or more of these unique examples surfacing in private hands, where collectors or investors have placed astronomical values based on uniqueness. The coin might have been misstruck on a foreign planchet, like one intended for a Canadian cent or a Bahamian coin, giving it a distinct weight and metallic composition that sets it apart. Some reports suggest a 2005 penny with an unusual magnetic property, indicating it may have been struck on a steel core planchet, something that would never have been authorized for that year. Next. Today's journey takes us into the mystery of the 2000 1 cent coin, a simple penny that has shocked collectors and experts alike because of its extraordinary value, with some examples rumored to be worth as much as $30 million due to the rare and mind-blowing errors that occurred during its minting process. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that millions of people have spent without a second thought, yet one version of it could buy you a mansion, luxury cars, or secure your financial future forever. That's the thrilling world of numismatics, the art of coin collecting, where a tiny mistake can turn a 1-cent piece into a fortune. The 2000 Lincoln cent, struck at the Denver Mint, is a coin that has drawn enormous attention because it sits at the intersection of modern minting technology and human imperfection. It's a reminder that even in an era of precision machinery, mistakes happen, and sometimes those mistakes make history. But what could possibly make a simple copper-plated zinc penny from 2000 worth such an astronomical figure like $30 million? To understand that, we have to explore its unique combination of mint errors, rarity, condition, and the mystery surrounding the few known examples that collectors whisper about in online forums and auction circles. The first thing that sets the 2000 penny apart is the era it was minted in. The year 2000 marked the dawn of a new millennium, a symbolic time that had collectors paying close attention to new coins, commemorative issues, and potential transitional errors from the previous decades. The Lincoln cent, which had been in circulation since 1909, was still featuring the same familiar design of Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but subtle shifts in minting technology and planchet composition continued to create unexpected variations. At the Denver Mint, millions of coins were being struck daily, and within that massive production, the chances of minting errors were small, but not impossible. One of the most intriguing possibilities surrounding the 2000 penny's extreme value is that it might have been struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank intended for another denomination was used. If a 2000 cent was struck on a dime planchet, it would appear smaller, thinner, and lighter, and its copper color would be replaced by a silvery tone from the dime's composition. Such wrong planchet errors are exceedingly rare and can fetch hundreds of thousands or even millions at auction, depending on their condition. But in the case of the 2000 penny, experts suspect an even more complex scenario. Some may have been struck on experimental planchets or transitional materials left over from prior years, resulting in color variations, strange surface textures, or inconsistent weights. Another theory that fuels the legend of the $30 million penny involves double striking, where the coin is struck more than once by the dies, creating overlapping images of Lincoln's portrait or the date. Double-struck pennies are well known among collectors, but when combined with other errors, such as off-center strikes or die clashes, they become phenomenally valuable. A double strike where Lincoln's face appears ghosted or shifted can look almost surreal, and in some cases, collectors believe the Denver Mint accidentally released a handful of such coins into circulation before the mistake was noticed. When you pair that with near-perfect uncirculated condition, the price skyrockets into unimaginable territory. The next factor that makes the 2000 penny stand out is die deterioration or die break errors. Over time, the dies that stamp the coins wear out, crack, or get clogged with debris, leading to fascinating imperfections known as cut breaks, die chips, and die cracks. Some 2000 pennies display dramatic die breaks where parts of the design are missing or distorted, especially around the date or the word Liberty. These natural minting flaws often create unique one-of-a-kind coins because no two die cracks are exactly alike. Collectors prize these varieties because they capture a literal moment in minting history, an exact second when the mint's precision faltered and something remarkable happened. A coin with a massive die break across Lincoln's profile or the memorial building could instantly transform from a penny to a priceless collectible. There are also reports of 2000 pennies with doubled dies, where parts of the design appear duplicated due to a misalignment during die preparation. A doubled die obverse could show Lincoln's eye, date, or lettering with a shadow effect, and these errors are among the most coveted in the hobby. The famous 1955 doubled die cent proved how much excitement such an error can generate, and a modern equivalent from 2000 would have collectors lining up with checkbooks ready. Beyond visible errors, there's another layer of mystery: surface and color anomalies. Some 2000 pennies have been found with unusual color tones ranging from deep red to purple, gold, or even green hues. While some might dismiss these as environmental damage, certain rare planchet impurities or heat treatments during minting can cause strikingly beautiful color shifts that collectors adore. A genuine mint error with iridescent toning in mint state condition can easily bring in tens of thousands or more, especially if authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now, imagine a coin that combines several of these features: a double-struck 2000D penny with a die crack running across the obverse, unusual toning, and a visible minting misalignment. Such a coin would be nearly impossible to replicate, and its uniqueness could justify the extraordinary $30 million valuation in the eyes of a passionate collector or investor who views it as a piece of American minting history. The Denver Mint's history itself adds another layer of intrigue. Known for its high-volume coin production, the Denver facility occasionally released error coins by accident, especially during years of intense production. In 2000, with over 8 billion pennies minted, quality control teams were under immense pressure, and any slight lapse could allow an error coin to escape into circulation. The fact that very few of these coins have surfaced fuels the mythos that somewhere, hidden in someone's change jar or old collection, might lie one of these legendary error coins, just waiting to be discovered. Collectors speculate that the $30 million valuation may stem from a combination of factors: extreme rarity, historical significance, and an extraordinary combination of minting anomalies that defy replication. Moreover, provenance, the history of ownership, can also play a major role. If one of these coins had been part of a famous collection or appeared in a major auction, its value would increase exponentially. There's even speculation that one example may have been privately sold, contributing to the rumored valuation. Coin collectors and numismatists often remind us that rarity and demand drive price, and when a coin's backstory captures the imagination of the public, its value can go beyond logic and into legend. Another aspect that makes the 2000D penny special is its connection to transitional minting practices. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with improving die longevity, striking pressure, and planchet quality. These transitional adjustments sometimes led to subtle but important differences in the way coins were struck. Some collectors claim that specific 2000D cents show stronger strike details on Lincoln's beard, bow tie, and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial compared to others, suggesting different die pressure or planchet consistency. If these differences are tied to experimental or test dies, they could represent an ultra-rare subset known only to those who study the minutiae of mint production. Additionally, errors such as broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to expand outward, are known to occur in modern pennies and are highly collectible. A 2000D broad strike error in pristine condition could fetch an incredible amount, and if paired with other anomalies, it could become one of the most valuable pennies ever discovered. There's also the mysterious category of off-metal strikes, where the penny may have been accidentally struck on a foreign coin planchet or leftover blank from another denomination. Imagine a 2000D penny struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin. Its weight, color, and metallic composition would all differ, creating a hybrid error that numismatists would consider priceless. Stories circulate of collectors finding 2000D pennies with slightly different sounds when dropped, hinting at unusual metallic compositions. While most of these tales remain unverified, they keep the excitement alive and drive enthusiasts to check every penny they come across. It's also possible that some 2000D cents were struck slightly off-center, with the design shifted toward one edge. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, such coins can range from mildly interesting to spectacular. A perfectly centered but off-struck coin showing part of the blank planchet on one side can be incredibly appealing visually and rare in high grade. And when these coins are authenticated and preserved in mint state condition, their value climbs rapidly. Speaking of condition, that's another key reason behind the rumored multimillion-dollar worth. Mint state coins graded MS 67 or higher are extremely scarce for any penny, especially from such a high production year. The 2000D cent, if found in flawless condition, why last? 1988 1-cent coin that, due to a combination of bizarre minting errors, historical significance, and collector obsession, has been rumored to carry an astounding value of $28 million. Imagine holding something in your hand that looks like any ordinary penny, yet it could be worth more than luxury cars, mansions, and lifetime fortunes combined. The 1988 penny, like many coins produced by the U.S. Mint, was part of the Reguar issue Lincoln cents that most Americans handled daily. But somewhere during its creation, mistakes were made, errors so rare, so visually striking, and so historically unusual that they turned this once common coin into a prized artifact of numismatic legend. Before we explore the reasons this tiny copper-plated zinc coin could command such astronomical prices, let's journey into its origins and the chain of events that created the anomalies, making it a holy grail for collectors. The 1988 penny sits at an interesting point in U.S. mint history. It was minted during the transition years of certain design changes, when the mint's machinery, dies, and planchets were evolving to match updated production standards. While the design remained that of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse and Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, subtle variations crept into production. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced millions, but among those, a handful carried small imperfections invisible to the average eye yet worth millions to collectors who know exactly what to look for. The most famous of these errors is the 1988 penny with the 1989 reverse, known as the transitional reverse error. During die changes between 1988 and 1989, some reverse dies meant for the 1989 penny accidentally found their way into the 1988 production lines. The distinguishing feature: the design details of the Lincoln Memorial differ between years, particularly in the initials, FG, for designer Frank Gasparo. On the 1988 reverse, the FG is spaced and shaped differently than the 1989 version, and those mistakenly struck 1988 coins with the 1989 reverse became incredibly rare. Collectors and experts call it the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety, and when authenticated, it can sell for thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars. Now imagine an ultra-rare specimen with that transitional error compounded by other defects, such as a double die strike, off-center strike, or improper alloy mix. The combined rarity of multiple minting mistakes could skyrocket its estimated value far beyond the norm, and that's where the rumor of the $28 million valuation stems from. In numismatic circles, when a coin exhibits overlapping minting anomalies, it's considered a one-of-a-kind specimen, a perfect storm of historical missteps and minting accidents. Some 1988 pennies have been reported with die cracks running across Lincoln's face or neck, producing eerie images known among collectors as scar or cracked skull pennies. Others show double strikes where Lincoln's portrait is faintly repeated, or the letters of Liberty appear double due to slight die shifts. Still others display weak or ghosted images on the reverse, where the Lincoln Memorial appears partially missing due to grease-filled dies. Each of these errors adds value individually, but combined, they create an unparalleled rarity. The key factor driving the enormous valuation of the rumored $28 million penny is not just its physical mistakes, it's the convergence of those mistakes with collector psychology, historical intrigue, and the scarcity of authenticated specimens. In the world of coin collecting, perceived rarity can inflate prices to astonishing levels, especially when stories circulate of unique discoveries. For instance, coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die cent have fetched record-breaking sums precisely because of such legendary status. The 1988 penny, with its transitional reverse error, has achieved similar mythical recognition, but reports suggest that a unique example surfaced bearing multiple compounded errors that make it truly singular. Some stories describe a coin struck on a bronze planchet instead of the intended zinc-coated one, creating a heavier weight of 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, while others mention an off-center strike combined with the wrong reverse die and die clash marks visible without magnification. These compounded attributes elevate the coin's perceived worth to incredible heights because no other known example matches all those flaws simultaneously. It's not just about the errors, it's about what they represent, a rare moment where the precision of the U.S. Mint faltered in multiple ways at once, leaving behind a masterpiece of imperfection. Collectors chase such anomalies not only for their monetary value but also for their story, their proof of human error in an otherwise exacting process, and their uniqueness in a sea of uniformity. Imagine a coin struck with slightly misaligned dies, producing a faint doubling of Lincoln's face, combined with the 1989 reverse, all on a bronze planchet, an unintentional blend of three separate minting characteristics that should never coexist. Such a coin could indeed be considered priceless, and when authenticated by major grading companies like PCGS or NGC, its auction value could easily soar into the tens of millions. The fascination with error coins lies in their unpredictability. No mint sets out to create them, and yet, once they slip through, they become treasured oddities. The 1988 penny sits perfectly at this crossroads of chance and craftsmanship. Some collectors also speculate that certain 1988 pennies were struck with improperly prepared dies, leading to weak or ghosted mint marks, especially notable on those from the Denver Mint. When examined under magnification, the D mint mark might appear faint, doubled, or oddly shaped, signaling a die-wear issue or repunched mint mark. These anomalies, while subtle, are vital to collectors who understand their implications. Even a small variation in the mint mark's appearance can push a coin's value far beyond its face. In addition, improper metal mixes occasionally occurred in this era. While 1988 pennies were primarily zinc with a thin copper coating, a few have been reported to contain traces of leftover bronze, leading to color and weight deviations. A collector discovering such a coin would instantly recognize it as a potential jackpot. Coins struck on the wrong planchet, say, on a dime blank or foreign metal, are also among the most valuable types of mint errors, and rumors persist that a handful of 1988 pennies were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other denominations. This kind of wrong planchet error is exceptionally rare and can fetch staggering prices at auction because it's a visible, undeniable mistake of process rather than appearance. Moreover, double or triple strike errors where the coin is hit multiple times by the press without proper alignment can create overlapping images that look surreal, like Lincoln's face slightly shadowed by his own profile or the memorial's pillars mirrored. Such dramatic errors are highly coveted and could easily elevate a coin's value from a few thousand to millions if combined with other unique traits. Every small imperfection tells a story of machinery misaligned, human oversight, and the unexpected artistry of mistakes. What truly makes the $28 million claim so fascinating is how it reflects the perfect blend of myth, fact, and collector enthusiasm. The world of rare coins thrives on stories like this, stories where everyday objects transform into treasures. Whether through newspaper buzz, online auctions, or private sales, whispers of an ultra-rare 1988 penny discovered in pocket change or passed down through generations add to its legend. Even if only one such coin exists, its allure continues to captivate the imagination of enthusiasts worldwide. The 1988 penny's value also benefits from nostalgia and accessibility. Almost everyone has handled pennies from that era, creating a shared sense of possibility that anyone could find one worth millions. People check old jars, drawers, and piggy banks, hoping to stumble upon a small copper disc with distinguishing marks. This excitement fuels the market further because demand spikes when a story spreads of one selling for a fortune. Auction houses have seen bids climb rapidly when a coin with documented errors surfaces. Experts meticulously analyze each aspect: die variety, strike quality, surface marks, and weight. They assess whether it's a true transitional error, a double die, or a planchet anomaly. The authentication process adds legitimacy, and once a coin is encapsulated with a grading label confirming its rarity, its value multiplies. Some numismatists even speculate that certain 1988 pennies may have been test strikes, experimental coins used to check the new 1989 reverse dies, accidentally released into circulation. If confirmed, that would make them not just mint errors but historical test artifacts. The possibility that such a coin escaped official destruction and made its way into public hands enhances its mystique and market appeal. The excitement surrounding the 1988 penny also highlights the psychology of collecting, how humans ascribe extraordinary value to rare imperfections. A flawless coin might be beautiful, but an imperfect one tells a story that connects eras, machines, and people. Each nick, double line, or off-center image is a fingerprint of history. In the case of the 1988 1-cent coin, its blend of error types, transitional reverse, die cracks, off-center strikes, misaligned mint marks, or planchet anomalies, creates a narrative of near impossibility.